So it's going to be really hard for Donald Trump to win the Nobel Peace Prize if he's under indictment from the International Criminal Court. We'll come back to that in a second. Another thing I saw this morning that's just incredibly dumb and silly. Nancy Mace has introduced a bill in the House to rename Black Lives Matter Plaza for Charlie Kirk, proving yet again that she's just a performative racist clown. Uh, and former Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, recently remarked about Nancy Mace. He strongly implied that she needs to go to rehab and get some significant mental health care. Uh, and, so there's that. But so Donald Trump has apparently caught wind that the International Criminal Court, which the United States is not a party to, we have not signed on to that because I think it's a jurisdictional thing. We don't want an international court having jurisdiction over Americans or American politicians, as it may be. But apparently, Donald Trump caught wind that the International Criminal Court is conducting some kind of investigation or building a case relative to Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth being serial killers, relative to the Venezuelan boat strikes. I think we've launched about 25 of those strikes. We've killed somewhere around 87 people with no due process, absolutely no evidence that there were drugs on any of those boats, absolutely no evidence that any of the people that we've killed were gang members, drug runners, cartel members, criminals in any way, shape, or form. There is no legal justification for these strikes in international law, domestic law, under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, the laws of war. These boat strikes are nothing more than just straight up murder. And while the Supreme Court has given Donald Trump immunity from prosecution under U.S. law for official acts, and ordering the military to do something would be an official act, even if you ordered the military to do something that was illegal, as was so eloquently laid out in hypotheticals as that the immunity case made its way through the courts. But Trump has now demanded that the International Criminal Court also grant him immunity and agree not to prosecute him. And I think he also demanded the same for Bibi Netanyahu and Israel war crimes in the Gaza Strip. And also he's demanded that they terminate any and all investigations into war crimes that the United States may or may not have committed in the Afghanistan war, which probably relates to the CIA and the zero units, the hit squads that committed some of the worst human rights abuses during the Afghanistan war, and the recent D.C. shooter who shot two National Guard members in Washington, D.C. for 10 years was a member of a zero unit in Afghanistan. He was recruited into that when he was 15 years old, and he was in there for 10 years. So Donald Trump apparently has caught wind that the International Criminal Court is investigating him and Pete Hegseth and the United States military for these boat strikes, and is now demanding full immunity from them. I mean, I shouldn't laugh, but everything is so absurd. I mean, every single thing is just so incredibly absurd now. And Donald Trump is still squawking that he wants his Nobel Peace Prize, while he's trying to avoid being indicted for 87 counts of murder by the International Criminal Court, because those strikes took place in international waters, so presumably that would fall under the jurisdiction of the International Criminal Court. But he wants his Peace Prize. I mean, he has stopped 8 wars. this year. Uh, but even though the United States is not a party or a signatory to whatever, hasn't signed on to the International Criminal Court and agreed to fall under its jurisdiction, if, I mean, maybe they're just operating under Trump's own theory of just do it. Who cares if it's illegal? Just do it. And then the fallout will just be the fallout. I mean, imagine if the International Criminal Court issued 87 count murder indictments and indicted Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth on 87 counts of murder. I think the International Criminal Court is located in The Hague. It's in like Brussels or something. I didn't look it up, but I think that would be the one thing that would convince Donald Trump to take, the carrier group, remove it from off the coast of Venezuela, and park it off the coast of Brussels and start launching missiles at the Hague, and then also immediately like hold his hand out and say, "Where's my Peace Prize? Where's my Nobel Peace Prize?" Just like everything is just dumb and stupid and absurd. But Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth have murdered 87 people. And between Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth and the chain of command down to the SEAL Team 6 members who pulled the trigger on those drones, the only person in that chain who has immunity from prosecution in the United States is Donald Trump. Pete Hegseth doesn't have immunity in the States, nor do those soldiers. And there's no statute of limitations on murder. And so it's like Donald Trump is going to have to pardon Pete Hegseth and members of the United States military on murder charges for them to avoid prosecution after Trump leaves office. 87 counts of murder. I hope the International Criminal Court just does it. I hope that they just indict Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump each on 87 counts of murder. They have an opportunity to do something quite amazing here. And I really hope that they do it. And apparently there's some rumblings that they're going to. Otherwise, Trump wouldn't be publicly demanding that they agree to not prosecute him for murder. Fucking unreal, man.